Can you speak to what happened to Andy Harris?
The deal we made with Canada and Mexico has gotten tremendous reviews, as you see. It's been very well received by farmers and ranchers and industrialists and workers generally, and it's been really something. And I think it's also going to be a very good deal for Mexico, and I believe it's going to be a very good deal for Canada. But it's gotten tremendous reviews, and it's going through the process. And even many of the Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, came out and said nice things. So that's very nice to hear that. So it's nice to see a little bit of a bipartisan approach. But the trade deal, the big trade deal, the largest deal ever made so far in trade, I expect to top it with China or EU or something. But this is the largest ever made. And as you know, now we're working on China, we're working on Japan, we're working on EU. But these are great deals for our nation and great deals for our workers. So, say it? Oh, I think the Democrats are going to like the trade bill. They already do. A lot of them have come out and said very positive things about it. We seem to have great support for the trade bill. It covers just about everybody.
Two directors, Son Eric and Michael Cohen.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it. I'd have to read the story because I don't know what story you're talking about.
Is lying to Congress, in your view, ever acceptable?
I don't think you should lie to Congress, and there have been a lot of people over the last year that have lied to Congress, and to me that would not be acceptable. Say it? I think that Judge Kavanaugh is doing pretty well, it seems to me, over the last 24 hours. A lot is going to depend on what comes back from the FBI in terms of their additional number 7 investigation. But I think that Judge Kavanaugh is doing very well right now. We spoke, and that's moving along nicely, but I don't want to interrupt what's going on with Judge Kavanaugh. I don't want to do anything to interrupt what's happening with Judge Kavanaugh. And I think the process, I must say, I think hopefully, as Mitch said, they'll have a vote by the end of the week, and it will be a positive vote. But it will be dependent on what comes back from the FBI. The FBI is working. They're working very hard, and let's see what happens.
Jeff Flake expressed concerns about the sharp and partisan tone by Brett Kavanaugh. Does that concern you, the sharp and partisan tone?
I think he was fighting people that were making very tough charges against him, and I thought he did very well. I really did. I thought he did very well. He's fighting very hard for his reputation, for his family. I thought what happened was really tough. It was tough stuff. I've been watching this stuff for a long time. I've never seen anything like going on with respect to Judge Kavanaugh. This is a high-quality person. This is a #1 student, a top intellect. He's never gone through anything like this. I think he did very well. I think he'll be totally impartial. I think he's a great judge. He's known as a great judge. If there's one disappointment, I don't think that you people covered an aspect that's very important, very, very important, and that's what he's done over the last 30 years. You know, you're going back to high school, you're going back to college. What has he done over the last 30 years? He has been spectacular. He has been a tremendous, tremendous success. Well, I heard Lindsey say that, and certainly it's interesting, and people love him. I was in Tennessee last night, and I want to say that those people, we had a sold-out arena with thousands of people outside. Everywhere I go, I'm going to Pennsylvania, it's the same thing. They are so in favor of Judge Kavanaugh. You've never seen anything like it. I actually think it's like a rallying cry for the Republicans. They are so in favor of Judge Kavanaugh. So Melania is in Africa. I just saw on television her walking out of the plane. It was beautiful and saying hello to the kids. She is really doing a great job as First Lady. No, I want to see what happens with the FBI. They're coming back with reports. They'll be back very soon. Are you talking about a second time? I mean, this was Lindsay's idea. Lindsay's a friend of mine, at least for the last 6 months, as you know. Lindsay's a friend of mine, and he's done really a great thing and a great service for our country, Lindsey Graham. But I have to say that I really think that Judge Kavanaugh is going to be accepted and voted on and positively voted on. But we're going to have to see what the FBI says. They'll come back with a report. Well, it's a tough thing going on. If you can be an exemplary person for 35 years and then somebody comes and they say, you did this or that, and they give 3 witnesses, and the 3 witnesses at this point do not corroborate what she was saying, it's a very scary situation where you're guilty until proven innocent. My whole life I've heard you're innocent until proven guilty. But now you're guilty until proven innocent. That is a very, very difficult standard. Say it. Well, I say that it's a very scary time for young men in America when you can be guilty of something that you may not be guilty of. This is a very difficult time. What's happening here has much more to do than even the appointment of a Supreme Court justice. It really does. You could be somebody that was perfect your entire life, and somebody could accuse you of something. Doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, as everybody says, but somebody could accuse you of something, and you're automatically guilty. But in this realm, you are truly guilty until proven innocent. That's one of the very, very bad things that's taking place right now. Say it.
Is there a message about this moment in our culture?
There's not a message now, but you might have a message by the end of the week. You may have a message. You're going to see. You're going to see. But he's an outstanding person. He's an outstanding man. And for his sake and for the sake of his family, I hope he does well. I think he's been very brutally treated. I've been speaking to people. We're going to talk later. I don't want to do anything to interrupt what's happening, this process. That's fine, but I don't want to do anything to interrupt the process. Well, I don't drink. I've never had a drink. I don't drink beer. I've never had a beer. And I'm not saying good or bad. Some people like it. I just chose not to do that for a lot of reasons. I think that I remember my college days, everybody was drinking. It was like normal. I was abnormal. It was totally normal. Everybody was drinking. And they used to drink a lot of beer. And there was nothing wrong. I just didn't choose to do that. But almost everybody else did. So I don't see anything wrong. No, I never tried anything else. Thank you.